Yo, it's me, it's the SCOTT. I've done the original. I've done the sequel. Time to take a look at the remake of Pet Sematary, released last year, 2019. Stars Jason Clarke, John Lithgow, and Amy Seimetz. And it's basically retelling the story from the first film. A few things were changed, including one big thing that I don't think works towards the strengths of the film. And it didn't help that the marketing kind of fucked it up. Because I think the execution at the beginning of it is done really well. And then, but if you paid attention to any of the marketing, it was ruined for you. And I'll get to that in a minute. But tells the story of the Creed family moving, into that place in Maine where they discover the Pet Sematary. It's basically the first film, but with some other changes. One big change, which was ruined by the marketing, is that instead of Gage getting hit by the truck and dying, it's Ellie that gets hit by the truck and dying. And if you watched the second trailer they released, it fucking ruined the twist. And it's a shame, because they do it so well in this film. They do such a great job of misleading you. Because you see Ellie's in the street with Church, the cat, and she's like messing with the cat, but then Gage sees Church and runs towards the street, and you think, okay, if you didn't see a thing, you think, okay, this is it, he's gonna get hit. But at the last second, Lewis, the dad, pulls Gage out of the way, which the guy tried to stop when he saw him. It causes him to overturn. The thing falls, goes crashing into Ellie, and kills her instead. It's done beautifully. It's done great. It's just a shame that the fucking marketing ruined the twist. And everything after that just sort of spirals down when it comes to the film. Because without Ellie, one of the best parts of the original was that Ellie had the shining. So she could sense that something bad was happening, even though she wasn't there. She was with her grandparents. She could sense that something bad was going to happen. But here, when she's the one that's hit, we have no shining, we have no connection. We're shown that Gage drew something that showed the future, but other than that, we get nothing, really. And it's a shame, because the performances in this film are pretty good. Jason Clarke is really good. The Amy, whatever her name is, she's good. John Lithgow is actually pretty good in this as well. But it's the plot that gets twisted. They actually mention the Wendigo, which is in the book, in this film. But they say it's a myth. But it actually works in context of the pull that the cemetery has. It actually explains it. Other than the other two films just saying, oh, it controls you. Whereas, even though Judd writes the Wendigo off as a myth, you think, oh, wait a minute, what if it is true? I also introduced these kids with masks. By the end of the film, you definitively believe that they're just ones brought back from the dead because Ellie puts on a similar mask. And it becomes Zombie Town. But the question is, why did it take so long to become Zombie Town? Because you get Judd dies just like he does. Gets cut in the Achilles tendon. Oh, I hate that. Oh, that was terrible in the original. It was terrible here. And he ends up dead. And then the mom, gets turned. But then so does the dad now. And now the only one left is Gage. And he's fucked. He's screwed. This kid is screwed. Because before Lewis goes, don't open the door, not even for me. And he locks it. And he goes. And he does that to his wife, despite the fact that Pascal was telling him not to. And then he dies. and they bury him, and he becomes a zombie. And you see them walking towards Gage, who's in the car by himself. It goes to black, and you hear whoop whoop, which is the unlocking sound of the door. And you're like, fuck. That kid is screwed. I kind of like the ending of the original better. Yes, Gage was dead, but you also had Ellie left. And you could continue the story with Ellie. They didn't, but, you could go from there. You could even do a third film, instead of doing a remake, in my opinion, you could have Blaise Bardal come back. She's still an actress. She does independent things. She could come back, or you can recast, and you can do a direct sequel to that first one with now an adult Ellie Creed, who still has dreams, nightmares, thanks to The Shining, of her parents and what happened in that town. So she goes back because she has problem remembering things. Like, her memory was blocked by The Shining, and now she's starting to remember things. And she's seeing Pascal, which could be played by a different actor. You could do, makeup effects, CGI, whatever. She's seeing Pascal, and she's trying to remember what happened. And it draws her in on her new family. She's got to help the new family. Stuff like that. You could have continued on that, but you decided to remake it. Remake a classic film like Pet Sematary. And while the first half, before Ellie, up until and during when Ellie dies, Ellie is killed, is pretty good. Once you get to the second half, afterwards, and you have to show us what comes next, it doesn't work because Ellie was such a big foundation of the original, with The Shining trying to send out warnings, sending her mom back, that you have to then rewrite basically the second half of the story because of this. And I know some people say, oh, it's good to just kind of go your own way with the sequel, with a remake, and that's fine. But I think it doesn't go so well when you substitute Ellie for Gage. Especially when you show Lewis, who's supposed to be sympathetic with, drug Judd, so he passes out and he can go, and he can go dig up his daughter's body and bring her back, because he knows Judd won't allow him to. He doesn't do that in the original, and you're most sympathetic with that version, and this is turning into original versus remake, which I will eventually do. You're more sympathetic with the original because he's a struggling father, and they'll make his performance. He's a soap opera actor, so he's very good at conveying that emotion. Jason Clarke looks like he's already a zombie through most of these. He's just like, he shows no emotion in this. And that sucks, because I like Jason Clarke. I think he's a great actor. He was in Zero Dark 30. I didn't think it was too bad. In Terminator Genesis, I think he's a great actor. Just cast in bad movies. Except for Zero Dark 30. That's a great film. But, and John Lithgow, for the part that he has, does pretty well, like I said. But it tanks out in the second half. I'm sorry to say, it really does. And that sucks, because up until then, it's enjoyable. You get the second half, it's just like, oh, where are we doing? Where are we going? You get, cults and stuff. It's darker, a little bit darker than the original, but it pales in comparison, really. So, at the end of the day, Pet Sematary remake gets a 5. It's decently made. But I give it a 5, which means I like the Pet Sematary 2 better, because I gave it a 6, but I give it a 5 because while it's decently made, that second half does drag it down. And so, yeah, there's an alternate ending. Maybe I'll do a video on the alternate ending. Who knows? We'll see. But anyway, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. What are your thoughts on Pet Sematary remake? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I was Scotty. See you in the next one.